gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, I am playing the Tier 7 Imperial Japanese Navy battleship Nagato. And it had been quite a long time since I played this ship last. And I wanted to give you some information about the ship and give you the whys and wherefores about, the shell characteristics, etc. It really is a phenomenal battleship at Tier 7 in a lot of ways. I'm going to start with the World of Warships wiki. It doesn't say much. It says, Nagato had long remained the most powerful warship in the Imperial Japanese Navy. She had good armor and carried 410mm main battery guns. In the 1930s, the ship was modernized to receive more powerful torpedo protection. Now, what can I tell you? Well, base HP, 65,000, which you can see there on your screen. Not too bad. The main battery, 410mm guns, have a 29-second base reload, which you can also see on the bottom of your screen there, and a 180-degree turn time of 47.37 seconds. Base firing range, just over 20 kilometers, with a max dispersion at that range of 231 meters. HE shells do a maximum of 6,500 hit points worth of damage with a 30% base fire chance. The initial HE shell velocity is 805 meters per second. But once you get the hang of them, they are, they're fun to use. The maximum AP shell damage is 12,600, with the initial AP shell velocity being 806 meters per second. Secondaries, well, not a whole lot to speak of there, which is pretty common for most Tier 7 battleships. The Germans, maybe one or two others might be an exception to that, but by and large, Tier 7 battleships, especially if you're up-tiered, like I am in this match, you're not going to be using the secondaries a lot. Maneuverability, well, your maximum speed in this ship is only 22.25 knots, turning circle radius of 770 meters, and a base rudder ship time of 15.2 seconds. Did manage to land one shell for a little bit of damage there. And the surface detectability range on this ship is 16.59 kilometers, and air detectability range of 10.63 kilometers. Now, may have been better off to switch to the AP shells there, but figured that this ship was going to do that. Turn in, Landed a couple more shells. Not phenomenal damage, but at least a little bit. In the early going in particular, I wanted to make sure that I didn't just rush in and get myself blapped early. Compared to a lot of the other Tier 7 battleships that are available in the tech tree, I find Nagato to be pretty fun. I really like the guns on the roof. They are very accurate, very hard-hitting, but let me give you the particulars on the Nagato here. The AP damage per minute on the Nagato, 208,552. The Rook, 198,581. So much, much less. HE DPM, 107,586. We compare that to something like Leon, which is 150,400 HE DPM. Very strong. Michelangelo there, well, he beached himself. He's sitting sideways. Iowa just put shots out on him. He's not long for this world. And down he goes. So the green team, well, we're down to Baltimore. Red team's down now. Michelangelo and Jervis. And it's still anybody's game, but we've got a significant lead on the back of the fact that we've secured 2 caps and we've already sunk 2 red ships. Now let's talk a little bit about the dispersion and the sigma on this ship. Horizontal dispersion, as mentioned, not great. When I'm looking at ship tools online, the horizontal dispersion on the Nagato, 170 meters, and the vertical dispersion is 100 meters. That actually is reasonably good compared to some of the others. Lyon, for example, we mentioned that. Horizontal dispersion is 184, vertical dispersion 97, pretty close. But really where this ship shines is with the sigma. Now, sigma, of course, is the tendency of your shells to land toward the center of the target area rather than being spread out all over the target area. If you're unfamiliar with that, there are probably plenty of videos available to explain to you what sigma looks like, how it works, and what it means. But the sigma on the Nagato is 2.0. We'll just run down the list here. Lyon is 1.5, Prince Heinrich 1.5, Gneisenau 1.8, Francesco Caracciolo 1.7, Rook 1.5, King George V 1.8. Colorado is a 2.0 sigma, which is pretty nice, and the Sinop is 1.5. Now, what does all that mean? Well, it means that you can hit things more consistently at longer ranges than you can with a lot of other Tier 7 battleships. Now that, just as I say that, every shell misses. That probably had a little bit more to do with my not aiming well and the fact that the Maya was turning than anything else. As it stands right now, we're down to Donskoy and a Baltimore. The red team is down Nagato and service. And I am kind of, at this point, I'm just kind of thinking, well, I'm going to kite. I have to be really careful here because we've got a battleship and a Buffalo. You got Jean Bar and a Buffalo there that could broadside my ship with guns. And the JB, well, he's probably looking at me if I had to guess because, I am probably angled really in such a way that he could hurt me pretty good if he wanted to. But he may be focused on the Takahashi. If you can see that, he's in Foxtrot 8. And I switched to the AP to see whether or not I can have a little bit better impact that way. Decent, few overpens, one pen, which is why I was trying the HE earlier. And our Iowa finishes up the Maya. Jean Bar was, in fact, looking at our Takahashi, did finish him off. And now Jean Bar is going to be my target as well. So we're 7.5 minutes in, more or less. I've got 18,000 damage. Not too great, but I'm going to start doing a little bit more, becoming a little bit more effective as the game continues. And that's something to keep in mind, especially if you're a newer player. Sometimes just staying alive into the latter part of the game can help your team tremendously because you can see I've still got full health. Nobody's been targeting me, at least not yet. Now, I expect that's going to change, but as it stands right now, I've got an Iowa between me and both of these battleships that are on this side that we're looking at. And I think he will probably remain the target. Now, at a certain point, I think I'm going to have to turn and try and help him and occupy those battleships a little bit. But right now, I'm just trying to get a broadside shot on the Monarch that will see him pick up a little bit of hurt. I've got Baltimore behind me, but I've got Gneisenau out that way. Now our Gneisenau, he's probably in trouble. There's a red sub out that way in addition to the Baltimore, and you can see I did just very little there other than maybe scare some people on the deck a little bit. Torpedoes from the sub, no doubt. I'm going to try and help with the Baltimore. Barely moving. And the sub does take out the Gneisenau. Now, I don't want to be the next ship sunk by the sub. Of course, in the video replay that I kept for this ship, and I've talked about the guns being reasonably accurate, and I just miss over and over and over. Well, not much can be done about that. The facts are the facts. I did give them to you about the shells, sigma, and dispersion. Let's talk a little bit about damage. Nagato, of course, 12,600 is in the AP shells, which is the best of Tier 7 tech tree battleships. The closest one is Senop. You can see I pick up a little bit of damage, but a bunch of overpins on Shunforce. Really unfortunate. HE shells, well, pretty good. 6,500 max HE damage. The next one, the closest, is the King George V at 6,100. And King George has a 41% fire chance to 2 Nagato's 30. So you're not going to probably light as many fires, but you can do a lot of damage even with the HE shells. And when untiered against angled opponents in particular, the HE shells can be very effective. I'm going to see if I can help with this sub while trying to run away from the other sub. You see our Shiratsuyu? He is trying to screen for torpedoes, which I really appreciate. But unfortunately, the sub is behind me, right? Just draw a straight line from where those torpedoes are headed back behind me, and you get some idea of where the sub is. Now, I'm able to land a couple shells on this salmon directly ahead of me, and I'm about to try and put a couple more depth charges on top of him. And I'm kind of thinking I might just have to go through that gap. We'll see. You can see the destroyer back there as I get pinged. Buffalo, well, he's not long for this world, right? Iowa may be able to get a shot on him. Bismarck, he's just backing away. There's the sub. Okay, he's trying to move away. My hope is he's going to just have to turn really sharp, slow way down. Now I expect Benson to be throwing torpedoes through the gap. And I pick up a flood on the sub. Balti is now starting to range some HE shells down on me. And I just wiggle the tail end of the ship enough for those torpedoes to miss. Yes, I think I can. Looking at the oil slick on the water, making a best guess about where I think the sub is headed. Benson's trying to use the island. Pick up another flood. And here comes La Fantasque. So throwing out torpedoes. He didn't aim those very well unless he's aiming for the Bismarck right behind me. And I'm going to hope he's just running straight away from me. Oh, there he is. Okay. Well, maybe I'll be able to get him this time. I am going to be able to get shots. Torpedoes coming behind me now. That might do it on the salmon. I'm going to be able to get shots on this Monarch. A little bit of damage there as I am able to finish on the salmon. There's no more torpedo threat this side, and you've got Shiratsuyu and our U-190 now chasing down the red team's U-190. It's 4 ships to 3. We've got a significant points lead, but it's far from over. It's looking very good for our team. Despite the fact that we're down on caps, I have to maneuver here to try and avoid getting rammed, but it doesn't look like he's trying too hard to go for that. And I'm going to just put a full salvo into his side. And that is the power of these AP shells. If you can get a broadside target, especially at point blank range like that, you can do a significant amount of damage. So that's kill number 2, and I think that really kind of that wraps up the game for us. It's only the Baltimore left. We've got the points lead. Shiratsuyu looks like he's headed for the Charlie Cap, but I don't think he's even going to have time to pick that up. And Balti's going to shuffle on the side here. No, he's turning away. Just a little chip damage. So, impressions, feelings about the Nagato. Well, Nagato, however you'd like to pronounce it. It's a good tech tree tier 7 battleship. I do recommend, especially when up-tiered, try and keep your distance, especially when you're early going. As you saw, this ship can be effective up close if you're able to get a good position. Against experienced players in higher tier ships, this thing will, like most tier 7 battleships, really struggle. Pick up a Citadel shot there, and this poor Bismarck player. He tries so hard to finish him off and just doesn't have any luck. If you haven't run up the Japanese battleship line, it's fun. I think you'd enjoy it. Really, starting with Congo at tier 5, find these ships they've got pretty nice guns. And that, as they say, is that. And of course, when you get up to the Yamato at tier 10, these guns really smash. All right, taking a look at the details, 123,710 damage, 43 shell hits, couple of fires, 3 ships destroyed, picked up a couple of citadels, some secondaries, smashed a sub, managed to top the scoreboard with 2,281 base XP. Congratulations to our U-190, Shiratsuyu, and Bismarck, all who survived the game and played really well. Also Lif and Task and Iowa, all with over 1,600 base XP. You can see I spread the damage around a little bit. Some HE, some AP. It's only 7 shells, the HE, but 12,903 damage from that. And a little bit of fire damage, a little over 1,000. Primarily AP shell damage, 92,605. A lot of that coming, roughly a third, from the point-blank range broadside shot on a red battleship. If you like battleship play, you could definitely do worse than this ship. Is it anything special? Well, I guess that depends upon how you define it. It's fun to play. I raced through it like so many other people trying to get to higher tiers. So I thought I'd revisit it, have another look. I'm glad I did. It was a fun game. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, I hope you'll like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.